The Japanese have a word, kuchisabishii, that describes the 2020 Toyota Land Cruiser Heritage Edition well. It's best understood as the term for when you eat something not because you're hungry but because your mouth is bored. The Heritage Edition doesn't need to exist, same as Toyota doesn't really need to sell Land Cruisers in America anymore given our paltry share of the international sales pie. Yet it does, and it's damn tasty either way. That's not to directly compare one of the world's legendary SUVs with empty calories. As equipped in the American market, the 200 Series Land Cruiser is a fairly brilliant truck, melding its rugged heritage and superlative capability with a sensible approach to modern comfort. Even if an $86,710 sticker price might shock when you step back and see a gussied-up UN vehicle, consider that Mercedes-Benz has been pulling the same thing at twice the price with the G-Wagon and making out like a bandit for decades. Toyota's low-volume cruiser business here in the States still generates around $279 million in revenue annually, and that's without counting the Lexus LX. If you do count the LX, the revenue total for Toyota was $710 million in 2018. Not exactly peanuts. But given its formulaic, three squares approach since the 200 series launched in 2007, one trim, one option, no marketing, it's easy to see why Toyota whipped up the 2020 Land Cruiser Heritage Edition. It's nominally a minimalist adventurer appearance package accented by bronze BBS wheels and a Yakima Mega Warrior roof basket. More than a decade into the current series, Land Cruiser generations move on geologic time scales. It's also the closest the world's largest automaker has come to a board-mouth snack involving its most iconic vehicle. Again, this isn't a bad thing at all. The opposite, in fact. The Heritage Edition looks great, drives great, and is great. It just doesn't feel like it's meeting a vital need the way the regular Land Cruiser does, nor does it scan as a gluttonous blowout truly celebrating its 6 decades of production ahead of an uncertain future. Kuchisabishii. The 2020 Toyota Land Cruiser Heritage Edition, by the numbers. Base price, $86,710. Powertrain, 5.7-liter V8 8-speed automatic transmission full-time 4-wheel drive with low range. Horsepower, 381 horsepower at 5,600 RPM. Torque, 401 lb-ft at 3,600 RPM. Ground clearance, 8.9 inches. Off-road angles, 32 degrees approach, 21 degrees breakover, 24 degrees departure. Cargo space, 53.5 cubic feet, 82.8 cubic feet with the second row folded. EPA fuel economy, 13 miles per gallon city, 17 miles per gallon highway, 14 miles per gallon combined. Quick take, get the Heritage Edition or don't, what matters is that you get a Land Cruiser, period. When trucks were boxy. The Toyota Land Cruiser has changed as much as anyone would over 60-odd years, and the 4-door, roofed 200 series stands worlds apart from the pokey 1958 FJ25 that Toyota shipped over back then as the first Land Cruiser sold on these shores. By the way, that 2-door convertible model survives in unrestored condition at the excellent Land Cruiser Heritage Museum in Salt Lake City, Utah. The base 2020 truck will look familiar to everyone. Its design has gone unchanged since a 2015 facelift, and its profile has been with us since 2007. Good thing it's a handsome, blocky fella, with a drawn-out grille to accentuate its 78-inch width and a noticeably upright greenhouse. An untrained observer could mistake it for a Toyota Sequoia, that other 3-row, V8, body-on-frame SUV in the American lineup, except the Sequoia is more than 10 inches longer, bigger in every dimension, and also it's not a Land Cruiser and never will be. We digress. As mentioned up top, the $2,330 upcharge for the Heritage Edition nets the following exterior tweaks: 18-inch bronze BBS wheels, darkened chrome trim on the grille, deleted running boards, a Yakima roof basket, a sweet retro badge, and a paint choice of midnight black, metallic or blizzard pearl. Adding the roof rack, removing the running boards, and swapping in smaller wheels make the biggest visual impacts. It's a conservative upfit, no doubt. But the simplicity is still compelling. $87,000 compelling? Different discussion. Land Cruiser puts comfort first. Fitting for a truck that's more common in war zones than American driveways, the interior is laid out with dutiful practicality, all straight lines and big buttons and analog gauges. Cabin comfort is one place where we're glad to leave the old Land Cruisers behind, and Toyota relies on materials like wood and semi-aniline leather to soften the UN Peacekeeper experience for domestic buyers, plus extras like heated and ventilated seats and a center console refrigerator. Cool box. The Heritage Edition comes with black leather, bronze contrast stitching, all-weather floor mats, no third row, and no cool box for maximum storage. Toyota reasons that you'll bring a real cooler along anyway, what with the 53.5 cubic feet of space back there without the far back seats. Don't look for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in that 9-inch touchscreen, however. There are typically two complaints lobbed at the Toyota Land Cruiser interior: it's boring, and it's too fancy for what the truck actually is. To the first camp, we'll just point out that the Land Cruiser was not built to impress you. It doesn't have an art degree because its utilitarian buyers around the world still don't care. And to the second critique, the truck as it exists in America 2019 isn't marketed to you. Toyota knows you and a few other ragamuffins want a downmarket Land Cruiser. But that's not what it's trying to do here. Driving the 2020 Toyota Land Cruiser off-road. The 2020 Toyota Land Cruiser Heritage Edition is less about going further off-road than looking better in the process. That's not a problem when the base truck is as otherworldly durable as a 200 series. When you write a check for $87 grand, what you're paying for is the million-mile engineering needed to take the Land Cruiser safely to the globe's toughest and roughest edges. We're not exaggerating, much of the vehicle is designed for a 25-year service life. Everything from suspension components to window glass is thicker and stronger and utterly overbuilt compared to flimsy modern crossovers or even the full-size pickups we hold dear as Americans.